Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all healthy and safe. So this is my review of the iPhone SE. Now I gotta be honest, when Apple first announced this phone, I was not excited at all. The reason for that is because, I'm a gadget geek and I've been lucky enough to try all the latest and newest smartphones. And all the latest phones I've been testing, they all have really cutting edge, sleek designs, like almost a bezel-less front with all screen. OLED panel, usually with a refresh rate of at least 90 or 120 Hz, so ultra fluid screens. The iPhone SE is not that. This phone has really chunky bezels on top and bottom of the screen. It's an LCD panel, and the overall design language is at least 4 to 5 years old now. I mean, if you're being generous, you can say 3 years old, but really it's like 4 to 5 years old. So I was not excited about the iPhone SE at all initially. But then as I began using this phone as my daily driver to test it, I started noticing that a lot of people are really excited about this phone. On 4 different occasions, I was at a coffee shop a couple of times, and one time I was at a mall. Someone would stop me, like a stranger would stop me and be like, whoa, is that the new iPhone SE? I'm actually really excited about the phone and I've already pre-ordered it, so I can't wait to get it. Now there are several reasons why they're excited for iPhone SE. Some of them really like the fact that this is a small phone again, because most flagship phones nowadays are really big. Other people like it because they can get an iPhone for a relatively cheap price. This starts at about $350 US. Or some people just like it because it brings back the circular home button, because the new iPhones with the swipe interface may be a little bit too complicated for them. Now I gotta admit, all those people were a little bit older. They were probably at least 55, so they're definitely not like a tech geek like me who keeps up to date with all the latest smartphones. But that's okay, because they're still consumers. In fact, those people might be a more important market to phone brands than real tech geeks. The people who want this phone are the average consumers. They're the mainstream average smartphone user. Okay, so let's go over the specs really quick. The iPhone SE has a 4.7-inch LCD display. So yes, it is not as vibrant as the OLED panel that you've seen on the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 10, but it is still a very, very excellent LCD panel with accurate colors. And right now I'm outside and I can see the screen perfectly fine. I don't know what the maximum nits of brightness is, but it's definitely good enough to see under the sun. I mean, look at how clear the screen is right now. Inside the phone, it's an Apple A13 Bionic. This is the most powerful mobile processor right now, more powerful than the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 or anything in the Huawei phones. There are only 2 cameras here. The main camera on the back is a 12 megapixel shooter, and the selfie camera, it's a 7 megapixel lens. Now this might be disappointing to some people who are used to seeing phones with a lot more gaudy camera specs, but again, for the most part, if you're just the average consumer taking standard 1x photos during the day, the iPhone SE does a very damn good job. In fact, look at these photo samples here. If you're taking photos during the day at 1x, the iPhone SE's 12 megapixel camera produces basically identical images to the iPhone 11 Pro's 12 megapixel sensor. Now, Apple tells me they're completely different camera systems. I don't know, they look very, very similar to me. Where the iPhone SE falls short is obviously in all the niche shooting conditions, like if you're trying to take pictures at night. For some reason, the iPhone SE does not have a night mode. So if you're taking photos in a pitch black room, for example, like right here, you'll see that the iPhone 11 Pro, because it has a night mode, just produces a much better image. But that's an extreme case. That was in my pitch black room. If you're actually taking nice shots in the city with a lot more ambient light from the outside, then you still get a pretty respectable shot, but it's still gonna fall short of what the iPhone 11 Pro can do, or definitely what the Huawei P40 Pro or the OnePlus 8 Pro can do. Now likewise, for wide angle and zoom shots, you can't take wide angle images at all because there is no wide angle lens. And for zoom shots, because there is no telephoto sensor, all the zoom is digital. In fact, if you look at the camera interface, there isn't even that button for you to tap to go in 2x. You have to pinch to zoom, which is a little bit of a hassle because you can't pinch to zoom with one hand. And you can only get up to 5x digital zoom, whereas the iPhone 11 Pro can get all the way up to 10x. But what about portrait photography? That's been one of the strong points of the iPhones. Well, with the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 11s, you're able to use the telephoto camera to help you take portrait shots. That's not the case here, again, because only one camera, so Apple has to do completely software portrait photography. And for the most part, it's actually pretty good. As you can see here, even though there's only one camera and it's all software manipulation, the depth of field around me right now is still pretty pretty good. But obviously, if you're comparing portrait shots, the iPhone 11 Pro is going to beat the iPhone SE every single time. Now, video performance, I'm happy to report, is as good here as it is on the iPhone 11 Pro, and that's great news because the iPhone 11 Pro is the best video camera on the market. It is better than any Android phone in terms of stability and finding dynamic range and focusing. As you can see right here, the iPhone SE's video performance is just as good as the iPhone 11 Pro's during the day. Now with the A13 Bionic chip in here, you're not going to have to worry about app performance at all. No matter what app or what game you're downloading to the SE, it's going to run smoothly and fluidly without any hiccups. There's also a stereo speaker here, so you're getting pretty good audio playback quality. But then ultimately the screen is just so cramped and the design looks a little bit dated. Now, Apple has traditionally refused to reveal how big the battery is inside the iPhones, and they've done the same here. So there is no official figure on how big the battery is inside, unless somebody tears it down, which I'm not going to do. But I'm guessing the battery in here is probably around 2000 milliamp hour, and the battery life it's not great. It's not bad. It can almost last me a full day, but not quite a full day. So if I unplug the phone at 10 a.m. and I use it heavily, like I always do, I would say a little bit after dinner time, by like 9 or 10 p.m., the phone will be on its last legs, like 10%, 12%. So definitely not like amazing battery life, but serviceable for a lot of people. The good news is this phone supports wireless charging. So if you have wireless charging pads around your office or your house or coffee shops, you're going to be able to top this up pretty easily. Now, to repeat what I said in the opening, the iPhone SE is not for me because I'm someone who wants the most cutting edge design, the most tip-top performance when it comes to screen and cameras and everything. But there are plenty of people who don't need all that stuff. There are plenty of people who have been wanting to upgrade from maybe an iPhone 6, but they don't want to pay $1,100 for an iPhone 11. So for those people, the iPhone SE is it. So there's definitely a market for this phone. I'm just not one of those people. But you by now will know whether or not this phone's for you. So anyway, that's it for my review of the iPhone SE. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more content. Thanks for watching.